Welcome to Fantasy Baseball, Baseball, Baseball. I am Dan O'Day along with Steve Romano. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well, Steve. And I'm doing well because I'm going to be talking about baseball. What I'm going to be talking about specifically right now with you is the Field of Dreams 14 team head to head league on Yahoo.
It's a very competitive league. We're having a lot of fun. There's a lot of interaction. Everyone is really paying attention, and we're starting to get towards the home stretch. Right, we're 13 weeks in, so we got 7 weeks to go in the regular season before the playoffs start.
Yeah, things are starting to get a little down and dirty towards the end. And we like to talk about the matchups of last week and some pickups and some other interesting tidbits we may stumble upon. So let's go right into the last week's matchups. Last week was week 13. And I was like talk about my matchup because I'm talking. And I was again the matchup of the week, Steve. Last week I was matchup of the week playing the first place team at the time. This week I was the matchup of the week playing the first place team at the time.
Wow, matchups, the premier matchup 2 weeks in a row, huh?
The matchup of the week. Yes, it's very exciting to be part of the matchup of the week. And this week I played the Atlanta Braves, who's having a great year, as we know. But Steve, I did well. I won 8-2.
That's kind of a beatdown.
Yeah, and I believe I beat Humboldt Crabs 7-3 last week. So a couple good weeks for my team in a row. I won offense 4 categories to 1, 38 to 32 runs, 14 homers to 9 homers, 33 ribbies to 24 ribbies. This was a close one, 255 average to 253. That fluctuated both ways, and that point kept going back and forth. But Atlanta Braves took stolen bases 9-4. A lot of stolen bases for the Braves.
That's a lot of stolen bases.
That
Man,
is.
wow.
I thought four was good. Atlanta Braves had 9 stolen bases. In the pitching category, Atlanta Braves had 63 innings. I had 54 innings, but I won wins 6-3. Atlanta Braves won Ks 65-53. I took saves 3-2. ERA was 2.50 to 2.69, so very close. And WHIP 0.83 to 1.10, also kind of close. So there's some interesting tidbits to be talked about, Steve, in my matchup against one of the better teams in the league. I was going into the last day. I had the 5 or 6 wins, and I was feeling good. One thing is I picked up Santillan. Is that how you say his name? Santillan?
Santillan, I think.
Santillan, the Reds reliever. I picked him up on Friday or Saturday. We'll find out. But he got me a save, and I won the saves category 3-2. So that was one of those pickups. Not necessarily the closer, but I know he had gotten a save recently. I picked him up. He got me a save. It worked out. But this is what happened. So I'm looking at Ks. I'm 12 Ks behind, Steve, right? And I'm like, I had, because of rotation, not because of pickups, I had 3 starters going on Sunday.
Yeah. Just
Right.
because of rotation, not pickups?
Not pickups. Gilbert, Martinez, and Wheeler all on my team regularly. Atlanta Braves had 2, I think, on Saturday and none on Sunday. And I'm looking and I'm thinking I could chase that category with 3 starters going. And by the way, they did give me 20 Ks between the three. But I was like, the whip, the whip of 1.083 and 1.10 is close enough. But the ERA definitely 2.50 and 2.69. Those are 2 categories I didn't want to lose. So I decided to sit all 3 starters, not chasing the Ks, which I would have won out, in fear of losing ERA or whip.
Wow.
I had
I like
Wheeler.
it.
I had Wheeler play in the late game, so I watched to see if any pickups were made, anything that happened. Like they had a starter and they went ahead in ERA or WHIP, and they didn't. And so I sat 3 starters yesterday. Now, mind
It's a
you,
bold move. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I tell you what, kid, I did what I thought was best for the team. Yeah, it was. Now, mind you, I would have taken the K category. Now, the whips were 079, 117, and 124. So I probably would have kept whip. I didn't figure out those. I could figure out the whip if I had all the box scores in front of me, the full line. But the ERA was 3.18, 4.50, and 1.42. They all pitched like 5 to 5.2 to 6.1 innings. So I think I would have lost ERA. So it might have been a straight change if I took Ks but lost ERA but kept WHIP. But I may have lost WHIP. I didn't want to risk it, and I had the big win, the 8-2 over the Atlanta Braves.
An 8-2 win over a team that's been good all season. They have lost 2 of the last 3 weeks now. So
Wow.
maybe they're, one of the better teams, but not one of the best over the past 3 weeks. You, on the other hand, you're 7-1 over the last 8 weeks. You're on a roll.
I am on a roll. Thank you. That's nice to know. 7-1. But I have to bring up something that happened for the Atlanta Braves. A man who was just on a tear had given him 4 stolen bases. I think that's why Atlanta Braves had 9. I think Witt gave 4 stolen bases this week. Bobby Witt this week was starting from the 13th on, so maybe the 14th on, 2 for 4, 0 for 3, 3 for 4, 1 for 4, 2 for 2, had a homer, many runs, a few ribbies, 4 stolen bases, was hitting well, got injured, and missed
Yeah.
that was tough. Missed the games the 19th and 21st. Bobby Witt Jr. Sorry to hear, could be out for a while.
I'm hoping not too long because he's one of my keepers in our big Roto league. So I'm heavily invested in Bobby Witt. Plus, he's also one of those, he's a great player, right? Beyond the offensive stats that we all know from fantasy, he's also an elite defender. So he's always like in the top 5 of WAR. I think he's like number 2 in the league right now.
Right.
And, his outs over average and his defensive rating. And he seems like a good guy. And he's in Kansas City, and they actually signed him to a long-term deal
It's
to where
good for
he's going to
Kansas
make
City.
big money.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a
it's
real
good for
deal.
Kansas City.
He's a real deal. Nice guy. I agree. So I hope he's not injured. I'm a fan, but from what I read, it could be bad. They're not sure yet. But just to let you know, this 8-2 victory could have been easily 6-4 or 6-3-1. I pick up that save out of the blue to win 3-2. And also, Steve, the average is 255 to 253. So on Sunday, I batted 324. And the Atlanta Braves on Sunday batted 294. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That
that was a battle to the end. So that 8-2 could have been a 6-3-1 easily. But luckily, I got the victory. And you also, speaking of people in the podcast talking about their matchups last week, you also had a nice win over, at the time, the second place team. I last week I knocked Humboldt Crabs out of first place to second place. This week, and Atlanta Braves won in the first place. This week I knocked Atlanta Braves out of first place, and the Crabs went back in. But you won that matchup 5-4.
it was a tight matchup. I mean, I had a big lead throughout the week early, but over the years, my teams tend to do that. But it started closing up and getting tighter on Thursday and Friday. And there were some categories, as you know, you get in there and you look, and even if you're up, like, oh dang, I'm up 7-1 on the best team in the league, but you get in there and you look at the categories and you're like, oh, but 3 or 4 of those are just a
Yeah,
hair split away.
yeah, there anybody.
But I liked some of the moves I made on Friday and Saturday on one particular move because I was looking for starters, obviously, like we all do going into the last couple of days. And I didn't really like anybody all that much to pick up to start. And I didn't have anyone that I really wanted to drop from my pitching staff.
Yeah, that's
So I was
hard.
looking around. Yeah, it stinks. Although I got one now, so I got one that I'll drop this week. But no, I was looking through just some heavy use relievers, and there's a guy out there for the Nationals, right?
Yeah,
Brad Lord.
yeah, Brad Lord.
Yeah, and I was looking like he was rated high over the past 14 days. I was looking it up. Looked like he was coming in every 2-3 days, pitching 3 innings, giving great numbers, and he hadn't pitched in a few days. So I was like, I'm going to pick this guy up. I'm going to drop one of these extra outfielders. I'll throw him in, see if he can help me out. And on that particular day, he pitched 3 innings, struck out 5, gave up no runs, and like had 1 hit, I think.
Well,
So, and
looking at the
that helped
categories,
keep
those
me.
Ks helped you.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I mean, I think I won by K's by more than
Eight
five,
by
though,
by
right?
eight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 68 to
But
60.
yeah, so but it did put me ahead a bit on Saturday. Like it kept me ahead on K's, and yeah. Then on Sunday, I mean, I was looking and I was like, oh my goodness, I got two pitchers going, same as you. I was like, do I let these guys go? Are they going to screw me on ERA and WHIP? But I kind of need them to stay ahead in K's because Humboldt Crabs picked up some guys and it was throwing like five starters on
Wow.
Sunday.
Wow.
And, so I had to start them. Otherwise, I was definitely going to lose strikeouts. I would have been passed without them. And luckily, Humboldt Crabs did not get a lot of great pitching from all the innings he threw on Sunday.
No, very interestingly enough, I'm looking right now, and of five pitchers starting, he got 0 wins.
0 wins. And I
Uh,
won the win category by one, right? Yeah.
yeah, one or two. I'll go back there. I'm looking at his screen right now. Uh, Dustin May pitched badly. He had been pitching well. Detmers pitched badly. He had been pitching well. Uh,
Yep.
Mike Parades from Minnesota pitched probably okay, really. His whip was 1.80 though, but besides that, 3.60 ERA, but no wins, 1K in 5 innings didn't help there.
Yep.
Jones
Exactly.
for the Pirates, Jared Jones. We love Jared Jones' potential, but 3 innings. I think he came out of the game, maybe a little injury. I don't know what that is. It says right here, initial image is clean. He underwent imaging. He was struck in the right elbow by a line drive and exited Sunday's contest against the Rockies. So glad to know everything's okay. He got the imaging, but he was removed after 3 innings. He was pitching well. And Tolly,
Yep.
he
Peyton Tolley.
he 6 innings, didn't pitch horrible, but only 2Ks. I mean, didn't get the win. 4.50, 1.33 ERA and WHIP. So 5 starters. I mean, you don't see that a lot. That all five kind of fail.
And yeah, all five failed. Two get blown up, no wins, and a really low K rate for all the innings that were thrown.
24 innings, 13 Ks that you bring it up. And his ERA was
Yeah.
for the day was 6.75, and his WHIP was 1.52 for the day. So a big swing and a miss, but I like the strategy. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to go in and get what I can.
Yeah. I Yeah, I felt good. Obviously, anytime you can beat a team of Crabs quality, that's a good win. I wish it would have been more because as we go through some of the other matchups coming up, like yourself, there's yeah, I won, but I won by one. So I gained one game.
Right.
Whereas like a couple of the guys right ahead of me that I'm chasing had bigger wins. So I actually lost ground.
It's funny
You know
you
what I
say
mean?
that. I was sixth place. I'm in seventh now. So even though I had a big win, we'll talk about it later. Somebody else had an 8-0 win, and I'm in seventh place now.
Yeah.
I literally went down. It's crazy. But talking about those wins, you won 7-5, 68 to 60. You won the Ks. ERA and WHIP are easy, 306 and 106 to 5.72 and 135. So those were big categories. Saves 4-1. Humboldt Crabs took, and
Yeah.
but when it comes offensively, Humboldt Crabs kind of dominated you. Runs 33 to 22, homers 10 to 5, average 275 to 231. Stolen bases were tied 3 to 3, but you had more ribbies, 30, than Humboldt Crabs at 23. That's the one category you took and you tied one.
Yeah. And at one point, I think on Friday when I looked, it was like 3 to 3 with four ties.
Oh, that's crazy. What
I
a
mean,
great matchup
there
through the
was
week then.
yeah, there was a lot of ties at one point.
Well, that was a big win for you. And like you said, what you wish was that it was a bigger win so you could move up in the standings a little. And that is always, I mean, at this point in the season, that's what you're thinking, right? You need the big wins. You only got 7 weeks left. We're going to go to the
Yeah,
next matchup. Baltimore Chop and Mr. Awesome's Momos play to a 5-5 tie.
yeah, those are two playoff teams. They've been playoff teams for the last. Well, I mean, Chop's been up there the past couple of months. Momo pretty much all season. Three
Yeah,
versus five. That's a big playoff matchup.
Momo's last year's champ. So, but the neat thing about it is that Chop took all five offensive categories and Momo's took all five pitching categories. The at bats were 207 to 209, and the innings were 47-1 to 42-1, 42.1, 47.1. So, very interesting, very close in the at bats and wins, but whoosh, Chop with all the offense, whoosh, Momo's with all the pitching. 34 to 31 in runs. Baltimore Chop, 10-7 in homers, 34 to 30 in ribbies. So kind of close, within three
Yeah,
and
those are
four
close.
runs and ribbies. Home
Yeah.
runs three, so that's a little more comfortable. Stolen bases 7-2. Average 300 to 239. So a couple close production categories, but pretty handedly won. But Momos with more innings by five, but more wins by three. Won the win category 5-2. Took the saves 2-1. Ooh, took the K's 48 to 46. I got to go look. And ERA easily 3.42 and 1.20 to 6.80 and 1.63. Momos took those categories easily. But Steve, I got to look. 48 to 46.
Yeah, that's very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
So Momos and Chops, I gotta know. I just gotta know. Let's go to Chop first. Chop on Sunday had 8 Ks in 5 innings, and Momos on Sunday had 10 Ks.
Oh, so they were tied going into the day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess so, right? Because they won by two. So Momos took it, just had a few. Yeah, that's very interesting. So 5-5 tie, two evenly matched teams. Well, evenly matched when it comes to the overall categories, but offensively and pitching wise, not evenly matched at all. So that's a very interesting 5-5 tie. Next, we have on the docket in the list going down in my app that I'm looking at, we had SoCal Stat Stuffers won 7-2 over Lumber Company.
SoCal Stat currently, hanging in there, sniffing around. They've been kind of up and down. They haven't had a consistent streak. At the beginning of the year, first 5 or 6 weeks, they were in the playoffs. Now they are hunting the playoffs.
And this could have been different. This matchup 7-2. SoCal Stat Stuffers took three of the offensive categories: runs 33 to 25, homers 12 to 8, and ribbies 39 to 29. They tied on stolen bases 2-2, average 295 to 260. Lumber Company took. But in the pitching categories, we had a couple close ones. Wins 4-3. SoCal Stat Stuffers took. Saves 1-0. SoCal Stat Stuffers. K's 38 to 35. So that was a close category. 6.34 ERA to 7.71. Neither one got good pitching for the week. And then WHIP, Lumber Company took the one category in pitching, 174 WHIP to 182. So both of them not getting good pitching.
No, some bad pitching for
Yeah,
sure.
bad pitching, but SoCal Stat Stuffers, and that happens. Your same staff will give you a horrible week sometimes. It's a big win for SoCal Stat Stuffers, 7-2. Next on the list is a big win. Speaking of big wins, here is your friend and buddy and Bellingham Bells Trevor with a 9-1 win over Lollygaggers.
9-1. Trevor needed that for sure. And I know he's been trying. So
Wow.
that's a nice showing.
And I'm looking and I'm seeing that things were close. Runs were 26 to 25, Bells took. So that was really close.
Wow.
Ribbies was 26 to 24, Bells took. So this could have, easily those two categories. 9-6, Bells took the homers. Stolen bases was 5-4. So there's three categories that it's already six. Yeah,
It's all in play. Yeah.
six
Three in
four
play right there.
right there, 6-4. That Bells wins, and that's a
Yep.
different victory than the 9-1 win. And then average was 277 to 218. Lollygaggers took that decisively. Um, Innings pitched 46 to 57, so Bell's got more innings. Think he made some moves, maybe paid off. We should look. Wins 4-3. So look, there's another category very close. K's
Yeah.
57 to 52, another category very close. So this 9-1 victory could have easily been 6-4, 5-5. Saves with 3-1. Bells took. ERA 4.71 to 5.24, not good ERAs, and WHIP was 1.22 to 1.47. So a big decisive victory, but Mighty Lollygaggers was right there and could have made that. I mean, could have easily gone 6-4, depending what people did Saturday and Sunday.
Sure. Or even just, a couple of things could easily made them ties. It could have been 7-1, right?
Yep,
Or
it
seven.
could have been
It could have
seven
been,
to one. It could have been anything from 5-5 to 7-1. You know,
yeah.
absolutely. So interesting matchup. Big win for Bells. Needed that in the standing, as you're saying. You need to gain, not just win at this point. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, a nice 9-1. So a nice 8-game win. Yeah. He needed that for sure.
Absolutely. Then the next one, speaking of big wins, Raptor with a dominating win, 8-0 over Juice Up for Summer.
Ooh, and yeah, juiced up for summer and Raptor, both another good matchup of playoff teams, guys who've been in the top 7, top 8 all year, if not the top 6. That's a pretty big win for two good teams facing each other.
Absolutely. And Juiced Up for Summer was close to taking at least a few categories, if not more. Runs was tied 28-28, and stolen bases was tied 3-3. So, and then home runs was won by Raptor 12-11.
That's
So
a lot of home runs.
that's a lot of home runs both teams hit. But there's three
Yeah,
categories, two ties, and by one, that it could easily have been, 2-7 or one or whatever, 3-7. We go
yeah,
to average 239 to 292. Decide, good Raptor victory there. Very close categories. So we'll go down to pitching though. 71 innings to 74 innings. Very close. Juice Up
that's a
Summer
lot of
7.
innings.
Yeah,
A lot
both
of
got
innings, though.
70s. Yeah, Juice Up Summer 71, Raptor
I mean,
74. But get
one of the
this.
last ones we saw two matchups ago, not the
Yeah,
Bells one,
had
but the matchup
35.
before, like 35 innings. Yeah.
That's crazy interesting. And sometimes it's your rotation. Sometimes you're picking people up. Sometimes you don't want to pick people up. Sometimes you're busy. You might not be paying attention because most people have life. All I do is think about baseball. And so, but interestingly enough, um, 6 wins to 1. So only 3 more innings
Wow.
for Raptors, 74 to 71. But Juiced Up for Summer had 71 innings pitched and got 1 win.
Yeah, that's rough. That is
That's
rough.
crazy. And you will see the pitching stats weren't great, but they weren't horrible, horrible. 3-1 saves. Raptor also took 82 to 72 Ks. Raptor also took 2.31 ERA to 4.44 for two stuff for summer. So Raptor took that and sweeping the pitching category. Raptor took whip 108 to 127. So 8-0 and 2 in this matchup. Um, Big win for Raptor.
Yeah. Excellent win. 8-0 over another great team. You got to take that and like it.
And I'm thinking Raptor and I were very close in the standings. I think we were because I had an 8-2 win. And like I said earlier, I was in sixth place. But Raptor had an 8-0 win and moved ahead of me for sixth place. Now in seventh place. Very interesting. Um, IP Tigers in the last matchup we need to review beat Creek Expos 6-4.
IP Tigers, Creek Expos, both teams struggling. It's been a struggling year for IP Tigers, right? And I know Creek Expos might have started off well, but they've gotten a little struggly lately, I think.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
Creek
so. Struggling
Expos is
lately.
6 straight losses for Creek Expos. So
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it's interesting as the season progresses. We go to those ebb and flows, those roller coasters of up and down, and how your players are playing. Interestingly enough, IP Tigers had some great pitching this week. In 47 innings, they had 48 Ks, and they took the K category 48 to 28, 1.90 ERA, and a 0.99 WHIP. So some great pitching, but get this, only 1 win in those 47 innings.
Yeah, that's with numbers like that, you would definitely expect more.
Right, 1.90 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, and they won the save category 5-4. The only offensive category Creek Expos took was wins 2-1. They had less innings, but more wins. In the offensive categories, though, Creek Expos took 4 of the 5 categories. This run 31-30, so that was very close to the end. Home runs, though, Creek Expos had 13 home runs to 5 for IP.
Mm,
That's a lot of homers. Uh,
yeah. Well,
32,
well, like
yeah,
that last matchup, right? Wasn't it like 13-12 in homers?
there's a lot
And
of
like,
homers hit this week, then, apparently.
yeah.
32 ribbies to 23. Um, Creek Expos also took, but then IP took 2 offensive categories, stolen bases 3-2, and averaged 265 to 231. So those are the matchups of the week. And all interesting. People making moves, getting players, uh, and the standings have changed. Humboldt Crabs now back in first place. Atlanta Braves in second place, 1.5 games back. Baltimore Chop, uh, 3 games back in third. Juiced Up for Summer, 4.5 games back. Momo's 5.5 games back in fifth. And then Raptor in sixth, 6 games back. And I'm in seventh, 7 games back. That makes it easy. And so, like I said, I got an 8-2 win, and I went back a slot.
Yeah. And just percentage wise, because I'm like, you actually got one more win than Raptor, but
Yep.
they have the better winning percentage.
They have the 7 ties,
Mm.
exactly. I only have 3 ties for the season, which is interesting. Let's see. 3 ties is the lowest anyone has this season, just to let you know, as I look real quickly. So only 3 ties I've had this year. In eighth place, just 2.5 games behind me, is SoCal Stat Stuffer. So right there, I believe they had a pretty big win. So they're right in the running. And then Bellingham Bells, listen, they're only 6 games behind Raptor. You get 9-0 victories. That's going to make up 6 games quickly if you can do that.
As long as, I mean, yes, obviously the 9-1 helped, but like, look at everybody ahead of him, right? He went 9-1. SoCal went 7-2-1. You went 8-2.
Yep.
Raptor went 8-0-2.
Yep.
So six, 7, 8, 9 all had phenomenal weeks, and nobody really made ground on each other.
Yeah, and that's true. If we all keep winning big, also, and I experienced that as we've already expressed. But they're 12 games back in first place, but only 6 games back of a playoff spot. And then you are a little farther back. You're 9.5 games away from a playoff spot in 10th place. But Steve, I think you're still in it. I think with 7 weeks to go, you can still make up ground enough. Now, obviously, like you just said, you need a lot of people playing differently that are in front of you than they have been. But I think you're still in the running.
Sure, mathematically, definitely. The odds are of the 4 teams ahead of me, 1, 2, 3, yeah, all me passing every one of them. I know it's slim, but I'm down for giving it a try.
Yeah,
The one thing
absolutely.
is, like, at 10, I'm the first team under 500. So
Yes,
9 teams are of 500 or better than 500. That's
which
kind of
is
cool.
that is impressive actually. And then below you is Creek Expos, 21 games back in 11th. IP Tigers, 28 games back in 12th, and then Lumber Company in 13th, and Lollygaggers in 14th. So those are the standings. They've changed. The top has done some juggling up and down. The first place teams, my team beating them and making them go down to second and then back to first with your your 5-4 victory. Once again, 5-4 is just not what you're looking for.
No, because, like, if I win 5-4 for 7 weeks, that's not going to do anything, and I know it, right? If
But
I win 6-3 for 7 weeks, well, 6-3 for 7 weeks, yeah,
maybe.
that could do something. That could do something.
Absolutely. And it also depends who you're playing. For all you know, you're playing all the people right in front of you. So let's go through
Right.
some pickups. I like the pickups. I like going through the pickups because they really matter in a head to head league more than they do a road. I mean, they all matter in all the leagues, obviously. Um, but we're going back to the 16th, Tuesday the 16th. And
Got it.
Caglione, Caglione was picked up for $8 by Krabs. I think I may have had him and I dropped him because, well, everybody could be understood why they dropped him. But he's playing great right now. He's starting to meet up with those expectations.
Yeah, he has been on a heater. He's been playing great. And he's like, he was a blue chip slugger. Like, in a perfect world, that guy could be hitting 40 home runs.
I think in the future, in a perfect world, he probably will if healthy. He's coming around. He's starting to see it. It takes these young guys sometimes a little while, some longer than others. That was an $8 pickup, and then a $2 pickup. Cameron for Arrighetti.
Yep.
I don't know anything about Cameron, but Humboldt Crabs picked him up. We'll see if he gets through the week with him. But he picked him up for $2. Next, Marino was dropped by the Braves. I was going against him. I guess I think Braves has a rotating catcher. Somebody I was looking at, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. With it, with a 14-team league, if you don't have one of the premier catchers, it totally makes sense that you could just pick up, oh, this guy is as good as the five on the waiver wire.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? If you don't have like a
Absolutely.
top five or six catcher, they're all pretty much close
Yeah.
to the
In a
same.
yeah, and in a 14-team league, yeah, the 10th best catcher is probably not any better than the 19th best catcher.
Yeah, so I think some teams are doing that, and I like that. IP Tigers picked up Taylor and dropped Salvador Perez. IP Tigers picked Carrig up, the Colorado outfielder who I like, dropped Sanchez. Mr. Awesome's
So that's
Momo, yeah,
two
yeah,
prospects,
two
two young
prospects.
guys that
I
he's
like it.
grabbing. Yep.
I like IP Tigers being busy, and I like him getting rid of the dead weight. And Salvi Perez, catching first base, I think picked up later by somebody. Not having the kind of season we are used to from him so far. Scott was dropped by Momos. He picked up Assad in a pitching change there, starting pitchers. Then you picked up E. Rodriguez and dropped A. Martinez, both of them multi-position, and E. Rodriguez a catcher first baseman.
Yeah, that was just I just needed a
Yeah.
catcher for an off
Yep.
day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Springer. I picked up Springer and dropped DeLauder. DeLauder is injured. I think I actually dropped him right before he got injured. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But then he got injured. He has slowed down big time. But listen, I took a flyer on
Yep.
George Springer because obviously I'm not expecting him to be the George Springer of his great years. But he seems to be coming a little more alive lately, getting some hits and coming around. And, I needed an outfielder.
Yeah. Un- Understandable. He will have a good stretch to some degree. How long
Absolutely.
it lasts, who knows? But he'll have one.
I agree. I like George Springer. I've always liked George Springer. Besides, he was on the cheating Astros. So, then Amaya, is that how you say his name? Juiced up for summer,
Yep.
dropped. Richie was picked up, and Lauer was dropped by the Braves, and some starting pitching moves there. Both of them are guys who we will see picked up and dropped all year, probably the rest of the year. Kay was picked up by me, and Alvarado was dropped a reliever, picked up a starter, the White Sox starter. Mead, I picked up Mead and dropped Dubon, and I like Dubon. I think someone picked him up. Mead plays first, second, third. Dubin plays second, third, shortstop, and outfielder. I had it covered. I like Mead, how he's playing. He's got a little more power than Dubon. He's a backup guy mostly, filling in for people, multi position. But I like
Yep.
Dubon, and after I dropped him, I was like, maybe I should have held on to him.
Yep. I mean, Devon's upside is only so high. Mead at least has the unknown upside, you know.
Yeah, and with a little more power for sure. Goldsmith, speaking of people with used to have power, Goldsmith playing well, I believe, was picked up by Raptor, and Rodriguez was dropped, the pitcher.
Goldschmidt has been playing amazing for like a month,
I
but
love I love it.
he really only plays against lefties, right? So
Yeah.
he's on the short side of a platoon because they don't let him face righties hardly ever, if at all. But when he has been playing for the past month, he's been like a top 30 player.
I love it. So there's a guy you're not counting on, but nice to have on your bench to play when he plays. Nunez, we know this guy, second base and shortstop, is picked up by the Bells, and Torres was dropped. Nunez is a guy who's among the league leaders in stolen bases. Who you pick up to get a stolen base?
Yeah, pretty much.
He's not good enough to keep on your team regularly. I've tried, but he is tied with Witt, who is injured, so he's going to take the lead in stolen bases with 28. 28
Yeah,
stolen
and like,
bases already.
yeah, for sure. I mean, if you have a guy like that, sure, like the rest of his stats are not good enough to be playing him every day. But if stolen base category is winnable going into those last 2 days, those are the days you throw him in there.
Absolutely, and it's great that people keep dropping him, so he's available for people to pick up. So,
Yeah,
and he plays second and shortstop. That's why I had him on my bench for a while because I'm like, yeah, and I didn't think he'd have 28 stolen bases before halftime, as I like to call the middle of the season, not the All Star break, because as we all know, the All Star break comes, what 60 some percent of the season through.
yeah. pretty much.
Then I dropped
More,
K more.
65.
Yeah, I think they should do it earlier. K was dropped by me, the starter. Canzone was picked up the outfield. Canzoni? Is there a little E at the end?
End
Canzone.
zone. End
Canzone was
zone.
picked up. Richie was dropped by the Braves. Trying to find some stats out of Canzone, the outfielder. Richie, the pitcher, was dropped after a pitch. Roop was picked up, and Dunn was dropped by Atlanta Braves also. So some moves by the Braves, one of our top two teams most of the year, trying to play against me. Raptor then made Dubon, as I brought up. I wish maybe I shouldn't have picked him up,
Wow.
but he picked him
Bond
up.
didn't last long out there,
Not
huh?
not at all. He's a great guy having your bench. He plays four positions, and you could start him, and he's going to give you some average and runs and stuff. But maybe a stolen bases. I don't know what he has, but I don't think it's nice to have him on his bench to fill in for sure. Castro was picked up, and Alexander was dropped. Same kind of move, guys. With plays four positions, five position. Castro plays five position: first, second, third, shortstop, and outfield. He plays everything but catcher pitcher. Wow, interesting. So Humboldt Crabs just filling in some positions on Friday, probably. Deuce up for summer, drop Savali. Arrighetti was picked up at Saturday. We're on Saturday. Savali was dropped. Arrighetti was picked up, and Quan was dropped. So going for some stats on Saturday. Quan, an outfielder who's much better in real life than he is fantasy.
Yeah, anyone would love to have that guy on their real life team for
Yeah,
sure.
he's a good defensive player, very solid, skilled player. Not having his best year. Lord was then picked up by you, who gave you some good innings. You picked up that fill-in catcher, E. Rodriguez. And you were happy with that pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I it was a chance, like I said earlier. I was like, you know what? This is kind of what he does. He shows up every 2, 3, 4 days. He hasn't pitched in like 2 or 3 days. Maybe I'll get him on this weekend. And I did 3 innings, five strikeouts, no runs. It was as good a pickup as I could have hoped for. Maybe I
Absolutely.
could have poached a random win out of the bullpen. That would have been even better.
That would
So
have been better. And I love those pickups. I love you need some stats. You make the right move. I have one coming up. You also picked up Stott and dropped Gonzalez. Stott could get you some a stolen base possibly. The one I just talked about, I picked up. He got a save for the Reds, Santillan, whatever. I
yep,
can't say his name because that was a great move. And he's not necessarily the closer. And I know Pagan's coming back, but I picked him up. He got me a save. I took 3-2. Love those moves like that. Raptor picked up Cantillo, dropped Real Muto. I think Horowitz was picked up by Krabs. I dropped Abel, who's on the IL, but he got re-injured. Ciccone
got it.
was picked up.
Yep, Saccone.
Arrighetti was dropped, but juiced up for summer. So Arrighetti picked up, then dropped by juiced up for summer as he's going for those pitching stats. I love it. He also picked up Lorenzen and dropped Torkelson, juiced up for summer, going for those pitching stats on Sunday. I love it. Last two were
Yep.
on Sunday moves. Torkelson, a guy who people listen, he's a 237 hitter at best, but people were expecting some big power numbers this year and run production possibly, and not really living up to it this year.
No, yeah, I mean, last year he did, right? Like he
Yep.
hit like 31 home runs or
Yeah,
something.
or more, I think. Yeah. He had a great year.
And but yeah, this year the homers just haven't been there.
Perkins was picked up. Cabrera was dropped by the Chop. Raptor picked up Gassar, and Cantillo was dropped. All pitching moves, going for some pitching stats. Momo was picked up
Yeah.
Alvarez. Yeah, I love it. I love all these pitching moves. They're going for a win, trying to get some K, maybe trying to bring down the ERA and whip. Alvarez was picked up by Momos. I believe he's a possible closer. Rothman was dropped, the catcher for the O's, who hasn't lived up to his potential. Big time Taters, speaking of catchers, picked up Marino because you needed some stats. Your catcher wasn't playing and dropped Valenzuela.
Yep.
Momo's picked up Rumfield. He's been hitting great lately and dropped Garcia, the relief pitcher. Paredes was picked up. The pitcher, Peralta, was dropped by Krabs. Big drop. Everyone knows why you would drop Peralta. He's pitching so badly
Well,
this year.
yeah, and he just had the horrible start over the weekend. Horrible.
I mean, bad. Like, really
Yeah.
bad. So going for some innings, Krabs there. Another move by Raptor, who I think is shuffling catchers. And you're like, yeah, I'll pick up Salvi Perez. That's a great pickup, actually. and dropped rushing. There are two guys playing a different opposite end of the spectrum in playing time. Rushing lately because Will Smith is on the IL, but Perez is like an Iron Man. He plays DH or catcher. He'll play most of the season if he's healthy. Jax picked up by the Crabs going for the stats. As we know, he had five. Oh, that was today. So the Perez was the last move Monday.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, and then we'll go through a few moves made already. At 12 a.m., the moves went through. Jax was picked up by Paradis was dropped, and Bazana was picked up, and Bush, Cubs first baseman, was dropped. He's still with the Cubs, isn't he?
Yeah. Bush has been playing okay lately, but he hasn't had that streak yet that kind of puts him where he needs to be.
No, and you know who has been playing well? The second baseman, Bazana.
Bazana's been playing great.
Yeah, absolutely. Ohapi was picked up by Momos looking for a catcher today, and Alvarez was dropped. Lauer was picked up by Momos going for a start. Rumfield was dropped. Rumfield's been playing pretty well. Lauer actually pitching well for the Dodgers. There's a guy they picked up from Toronto, Steve, kind of a reliever guy, used to start. Been giving them some good innings as a starter in the last three starts or whatever.
Yeah. I don't really know much, but I have seen he's made a few good appearances.
He's had three appearances. He's kept them in the game. They've won all three games. He has no wins, but the Dodgers won all three games. So he's kept them in the game.
Right.
Yeah. So then I picked up a guy on speculation and dropped a guy who I speculated $15 worth earlier. But I picked up Baez, the Cardinals blue chip prospect at this point, the way he's playing at AAA. And Montgomery was dropped. The guy I spent $15 on. He has not started hitting yet.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar with Montgomery. I was hoping he'd have a little bit of a better jump start, but he's been striking out a lot. So who knows how long they'll keep giving him a shot.
Yeah, he could need more seasoning, Steve, as I like to say in the minor leagues. Some of these young guys, as I said before, take longer than others. And Baez having an incredible year
Oh yeah, he's
in
one
AAA.
the
He has 25 homers, 64 ribbies in 67 games. Just like there's nothing left for him at AAA. Cardinals are kind of in the running for wild card. They're the first place team in wild card. So I could see him getting the call. I did hear his defense isn't the greatest, and he does play center field, and that's where they would put him. That's where they most in need of a possible replacement player, but he's not the greatest defensive player.
there have been so many call ups this year, right?
Oh
Like
my
a lot
God.
of prospects.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I have no idea. This would be just a total gamble guess, but I would bet of the top 100 prospects to start the season, I would bet that 30 of them have already been called up.
Yeah.
It seems like that, right? It seems like every team has called up at least one of their prospects, and a few
Absolutely.
teams have called up like two or three.
Well, I like the way you're thinking because I hope Baez gets called up. Um,
Yeah.
I do. So yeah, you're right though. There's so many young guys have been playing for so many different teams, even guys in contention, player teams in contention. I then picked up a starter I like to pick up and drop. I don't think he had a good last start, but he has had some good starts. And then speaking of prospects, isn't Blaze Alexander a prospect? Just picked up by Baltimore Chop literally minutes ago, and Perkins was dropped.
Yeah, and he's been playing well. He's already been picked up and dropped a couple of times for us in our league. But yeah, he was another guy having a good year. Wasn't a high prospect, but he's a prospect.
Called up. So I wanted to go over some things the commish said. I think you might have seen the post, but the league was started in 2005. The remaining original managers are SoCal Stat Stuffers, Jack, Muddy Lollygaggers, Richard, IP Tigers, and Humboldt Crabs. Those are the remaining original teams. There's only four: SoCal, Muddy, IP, and Humboldt Crabs. He does personally know Baltimore Chop, Scott and Mighty Lollygaggers, Richard, and the SoCal Stat Stuffers, Jack. He's never met Momos, but he's played in so many leagues with him, he feels like he knows him. That's Jeff, of course, last year's champ. And Atlanta Braves, Tim, also lots of league, feels like he knows him many years together. And I joined, I think, a decade ago or so. You've been in it for 5 years. Trevor is in this year. He's been a great addition. It's always interesting. You get someone new to a league like this of people who've been in for 20 years, 10 years, long time. You want someone who's competitive, is into it. And I think Bellingham Bells has done that.
Yeah, it's been a win for sure. And
Absolutely.
also in my daily life, as I've gotten older, all my friends are spread around the country, right? Like you're in LA, I'm in Seattle. We still talk sports. We have our other guys in our big rotor league that we do. But as far as like local, for me personally, friendship that I'm getting together with regularly and shooting the shit about sports, he's probably like my number one guy now.
Well, that's
Much
excellent.
younger than me, but we get along really good.
Well, I just want to let you know that Bellingham Bells is 3.5 games ahead of you. So there. So way to go, Trevor. Make sure you beat Steve. No, I think it's a great season. I love this league. I thank you for the history, Jim. We appreciate that so much. It's nice to learn and know. I'm sure I'll forget in the future
Yeah.
podcast because I like that. But we appreciate all the listeners. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm Dan O'Day. Laugh Steve Romano. This has been the Field of Dreams podcast. Cheers.
Have a good one.